Ex so entitled she thinks I should be paying bills for her and the guy she cheated with. Found out my girlfriend of 11 years was cheating me with an unemployed dude, of all people. I'm not rich, but I provided her a good lifestyle. Paid most of her bills. Provided a nice place. Nails and hair done regularly. Dates every weekend. Couple vacations a year. She got used to that lifestyle and wanted to keep living it despite cheating with a broke dude. She didn't admit to the cheating. I caught on to it. Once it was clear I was done with her, the entitlement really started to show. She said because I had family in the area and she didn't, I should move out but continue paying the bills to give her and the new guy a chance to get on their feet. She also insisted on keeping my dogs, told me I could only see my own dogs if I asked the new guy. But since they didn't have any money, I needed to continue paying for food and vet bills. Instead, I kicked her out and kept my dogs. At that point she was angry. And still felt entitled to my income. After I kicked her out of my place, she claimed she was forced to quit her job because I forced her to relocate. And then she tried to sue me for lost wages, which didn't work out in her favor. You'd think she'd stop at this point, but she didn't. She contacted my work and threatened to sue them, stating your employees' actions cost me everything, and tried to insist they'd settle outside of court with her for $100,000. She didn't make that much money. Instead, my work filed harassment charges against her. You'd think she'd stop at that point, but she didn't. She started messaging every family member of mine that she could find. Told them I cost her everything out of spite just because she moved on with someone else, and that the least they could do is send her money to help her get a place and pay rent. When that didn't work, she went online and begged for people to send money to her Cash App to help her with a place to live, and claimed it was a domestic violence situation. I don't understand how she doesn't understand that any financial support I gave her would end if she cheated on me. We weren't married. We don't have kids. I've supported her for years. I owe her nothing. I really don't owe it to her to help her and her new relationship get on their feet and establish themselves. Which seems to come as a shock to her. Second story. Our neighbors have been having pool parties at our pool while we are not home for years. A few years ago my husband and I purchased a house with a pool. Now we are acquainted with most of our neighbors but definitely not close friends with any of them. They all seem nice but just don't have much in common other where we live. Next door to the right is a family of 6, twin daughters attending the local university, high school age son and a young elementary school age daughter, maybe first or second grade, and the parents. Now normally we open the pool in early May and keep it open until the end of October. But this year our weather was off and we had a very cool and very wet month of May, and then June went straight to 100+ temperatures. I am currently on a medication that makes it difficult for me to tolerate being in the sun and heat for an extended time. Plus we have been helping 2 extended family members who are having health issues. So because of this we haven't had our pool opened yet this year. Normally we go to the family lake house for a week during each of the 3 major holidays, but we didn't go for Memorial Day because there was flooding around the lake this year, and because a family member was just discharged from the hospital yesterday, and July 4th being a Thursday this year, we decided to stay home this week and be available to help this family member. Now several times in June the little girl next door has seen either my husband or myself outside, and she has asked when we are opening the pool. We first told her maybe later, but the last time, yesterday, she asked and I said we are probably just not going to open it this year, and she started crying. Now we have never had any of the neighbors over to use our pool, so I didn't understand why she was crying over us not opening our pool. Well, I spoke with the neighbor on the left later, and apparently our neighbors on the right have been having a small family party at our pool every 4th of July when we are gone. They have always cleaned up really well afterwards, and because we have scheduled pool maintenance and weekly yard service, occasionally things are moved around in our yard and we never thought much about it. The neighbor on the left thought we had given the other neighbors permission to use our pool. We did give them permission to retrieve any balls or toys that ended up in our yard, but never permission to use our pool, especially when we are not at home. We have a special latch on the gate, and my husband did show the neighbor how to open the gate to retrieve his kids' toys. So now my husband, who loves gadgets, is going to have several more cameras installed around the exterior of our house, covering the gate and pool area. And have the gate latch made where we can grant remote access for the pool service and yardmen. Luckily we have a friend who does cameras and home automation systems. I'm annoyed our neighbors have been using our pool without permission, but my husband is happy I am letting him get more gadgets around the house. Now do we confront the neighbors and let them know we know they have been using our pool, or just wait and see if they say anything about our new security cameras? Third story. Entitled SIL Wants Custody of My Baby. Background, me 36F, 40F, I've been married to her brother for over 10 years and there's always been some jealousy and resentment from her. She's always felt like I had the life she wanted, not necessarily with her brother but the marriage, family, job stability, etc. I have 3 kids, 10F, 8M, 3 months female. She got married last year and they decided to start trying for a baby, but she was unfortunately told that she can't have children naturally. She was understandably devastated and the family comforted her as best as we could. We recently had a family dinner and in the middle of it she says, Angel 698, I think it's really unfair that you got to have 3 kids and I can't have any. Your baby is my last chance to raise a child, so I think you should give her to me during the week so I can create a motherly bond with her and you can have her on weekends. Before I could respond, the entire table erupted with everyone talking at once, so I took my older kids upstairs. When I got back to the dining room, her husband was asking what the hell is wrong with her and why would she even think to ask that. She was trying to justify herself when I asked them to leave. I also said that she's no longer welcomed at my house or around my children until she gets help. She started screaming that I don't deserve my life or my children and that I stole her baby from her. Her husband and Emile kept apologizing and dragged her out of the house, still crying and screaming. Now my kids want to know why their aunt wants to take the baby. Edit. I've been reading the comments but it's too many to reply to, so here are a few points. Point 1. We have a security system and cameras already installed and no one has keys to our house. Point 2. I will not be able to get a restraining order as this one incident isn't enough to justify it. Point 3. My husband and I spoke to the older kids about it the same night and will be having another talk with them to reinforce that SIL is not a safe person anymore. Point 4. Our country does not have the right to bear arms and I also have no interest in getting a gun. Point 5. I'll be informing the school and daycare of the issue and giving them her photo. For those questioning the validity of the post, I completely understand. If I had heard about this last week I wouldn't believe it either, but it's unfortunately the situation I'm currently dealing with. Fourth story. He tried to take my airline seat and lost. I was traveling to Las Vegas to meet up with some friends and pre-booked my seat. With this airline they charge extra for certain seats. I chose a window seat with extra leg room due to my disability, which cost me an additional $45. When boarding there was a man in my seat with another in the aisle seat. The middle was open. I checked my seat number and then politely told the man he was in my seat and asked for him to move. I am a petite female, and both men were about 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds. When both opened their mouths, it definitely appeared like they both were used to using their size to get their way. The man in the aisle immediately told me that the man at the window didn't have to move, and I could sit in the middle. After all, he said I shouldn't make a scene about it. That really pissed me off. I didn't raise my voice and was very polite. He said I wasn't making a scene, but was asking nicely for the seat I paid for. That's when he stood up and attempted to physically intimidate me. But here is the thing, I worked in frontline healthcare. I am used to men attempting to use their size and mouth to intimidate, and this behavior does not work with me. So, I decided to take another tactic. I turned my head to the man in my seat, and told him that I would make him a deal. He gives me $50 cash and I will give him my seat. I told him I paid an additional $45 for the seat, and with tax it should be around $50. He gives the money and the seat would be his. This is when he turned to me in shock and said, "You want me to pay you $50 for your seat?" I answered, "So you are admitting that you knew this wasn't your seat? I'm going to call the airline staff, and they can take you to your seat. After all, I booked this seat due to me having a disability, which is true, and you are trying to steal it." Everyone around us turned to look at him, and they did not have kind looks on their faces. He turned 14 shades of red and moved to the middle seat. He pulled his hoodie over his head and sulked the rest of the flight. His friend did the same. The moral of this story is simple. Do not use size and gender to bully others. It may just backfire on you and make your next flight a lot less comfortable. Fifth story. Neighbor's mother wants my husband's parking spot permanently. Our car was stolen in June and then returned to us at the end of July. It's being worked on and my husband has had to tell our neighbor's mother who visits she can no longer park in our parking spot. All well and good until today when I am coming home from some errands. The lady is on our stoop asking for my husband and if there is a way he can extend her parking allowance in our spot. She explains she is moving into the townhouse next to us to help care for her grandkids, and she sees that our car is a lost cause. She has said that us losing our car was great so she can park closer to the townhouse and not have to park on the street. What I told her and what my roommate/landlord has told her is thus: the car is being returned and instated in October and you have until then to make arrangements. This woman, who I am assuming has no sense of reality, said the chances of our car ever working is nil and that we should just give her the parking spot. Our townhouses have assigned parking and guest parking spots are adjacent. I told her she has to wait till my husband comes home and talk to him. She literally said she won't talk to him and will just take the spot whenever she wants, regardless if we get our car working or not. Car is currently at my husband's father's being worked on. I know it seems petty, but I am considering calling a tow truck the next time she does this. Update: neighbor who is the son of the woman has gotten involved and sided with us on the matter. He also had told his mother to park in the guest parking spots from now on or do not come here at all. She also lied to me about moving in. Big surprise. So far I was given a blessing if she does it again to call a tow truck. We did have someone park in our spot, but he asked if it was okay. He was part of a home inspection because one of our neighbors is selling his townhouse and was only there for 20 minutes. Choose here your next story. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, curious listener, to motivate me so I can create more content for you.